my mother with the angels?
What is heaven like?
Is my grandpa happy up there?
I wish I could see my dad again.
Children have many questions. Children are excellent observers. They carefully study what others do, but they are poor interpreters of these actions. This lack of interpretation causes a great deal of difficulty and confusion when a child experiences chronic illness or death of a loved one. Children do not always understand what is happening or what is going to happen. They may start having trouble in school or exhibit behavioral problems. They sometimes lose interest in activities or people, or adversely become overly attached due to a fear of separation. For children to go on, they need to let go of those they love. At Riverview Medical Center, we recognize the need for children to mourn and express their sadness. We gradually take them through the process of mourning through our art therapy, bereavement, and chronic illness programs. They draw, paint, make collages and murals. This natural form of expression aids in releasing a variety of emotions that may be buried deep within.
I'm the coordinator of the Children's Art Therapy Program at Riverview, a program designed to meet the needs of children between the ages of 4.5 and 13 years who have either experienced the death of a loved one or who are living with a family member with a chronic or terminal illness.
What the art therapy program offers these children is a safe outlet where they can express their concerns, their fears, their questions, and their grief. And along with Jane, I help to provide therapeutic art interventions for the group. And I do this by offering clay, collage, boxes, painting, any form of art, and using any variety of art materials.
In 1980, Dr. Eugene Cheslock, who was a medical director of Riverview's hospice program, was very moved by one of his patients, a young woman who was dying of cancer and on the hospice program.
She was really the flashpoint for both the art therapy program and for our hospice program. She was a young lady, very bright, with 2 young daughters, who saw the handwriting on the wall with breast cancer and that her prognosis was not great. And she also was capable of seeing the needs that her children would have upon her demise. And for that reason, she began the idea with a few of us, discussed the idea of forming a therapy group wherein the children could express themselves on paper because many times children are reticent to say very much or reluctant to say very much to strangers. But it's like the backseat of the car when you're driving your kids home from a date. You can hear an awful lot. They think they're somewhat insulated. So the art therapy group is a really non-threatening environment for them, and they really can depict on paper so much that goes on inside.
The art therapy program at Riverview helped my children very much because I noticed a big change in their attitudes. They're not as, of course they're still sad, but it's not as severe as it was before. They're able to express themselves so much easier than they did before, and that's like so important to me.
This is all the people that died in my family. My dad, my grandma's mom, and my grandma's dad, and my grandpa, and and that's it.
Well, what do you think about all that?
And my 2 fishes, 4 fishes.
My cousin, Brittany. She was 11. She had cancer. I was afraid I would get cancer, and it scared me a lot. And I went to the doctor's office, and they said that there was no way I could get cancer because it's not contagious.
I was really upset that because me and my dad, we did a lot of things together because like we both love sports, like especially baseball. So he was always like my baseball coach and stuff, and we would always go down to the park, and like it's a lot different now because I don't have like as good a coaching as I had.
My mom lied to me about when my pop died. He said he was just sleeping. She didn't want to tell me until the day of the funeral. Then she told me he was dead.
Okay. So how'd that make you feel?
Yeah, it made me feel like angry because she didn't tell me the truth in the first place.
Thank you for everything you do. Hold it up like you had before. Right. That was better, because then we can really read it. Think about the beach, You're the best mom ever. We love you so much. We're thinking of you all the time. I hope you feel better. Number one mom, Jackie, I will not rest until you get better.
It was really easy to express my feelings when there was other people around, and especially Jane, because she was so understanding. Like, she understood like everything you said, and there was like, so that was it's really helpful because it's easy. It just gets easier for you to express your feelings.
That we get to do fun projects, and it's not boring because we don't like talk all the time. We just basically draw pictures.
Why do people grieve?
Mostly when somebody dies, everybody grieves because sometimes you feel happy, sometimes you feel sad, sometimes you feel mad, sometimes you think it's your fault.
What is the difference of an animal dying and how people die? That's a very good question too. Is there a difference, do you think?
People could be closer to you because they could have lived longer and be with you more.
Okay, so you think there's a difference between them? Why do I sometimes feel like I'm empty inside?
Because you're missing that special someone.
Okay, that could be one reason.
It could get better, and sometimes it could get worse, or sometimes it could just stay the same.
How do you know if someone who's died is in a good place?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question. How do you know?
Because if they're younger and they're doing good, if they're like a good person, it kind of tells you that they might go to a good place.
Okay. What do you think?
It could also be in your beliefs, your religious beliefs, of where
Okay.
they go.
Could be in your religious beliefs, yeah. What do you think?
I agree with Stephanie.
Do you? Question is, who can I talk to about my mom when this group is over?
You can talk to your dad.
Could talk to your dad
Grandma, grandpa,
or a guidance counselor.
grandma, grandpa,
Grandma, grandpa.
And an uncle.
and an uncle,
Cousins.
cousin.
Sometimes even your friend.
Unresolved anger, unresolved misunderstanding is certainly the basis for all kinds of problems as we mature. I think it's important for children to understand they are allowed feelings, that they're normal feelings, and they must be given a release. And the children that come out on the other end are so much more mature, have grown so much through a loss, because they can dig into themselves. They find out who they are, and that what they experience, though sad and unfortunate and may in many instances be premature, it is part of living. And I think the kids that are able to resolve it well carry it into later life and are very well adjusted for it. Granted, it's tough going through, and it hurts going through. But as long as there's good support and there are people who care and the children know they are there to help them through the tough times, I think it's a win-win in a very unfortunate situation.
Well, it was kind of my mom that made me go into art therapy at first because I really didn't want to go because I didn't really think that there was anything that could help me at the time. But once I started going and I started interacting with other kids that felt that had the same problems as I did, I thought it was really cool because I really for a long time I really thought that I was the only kid that was going through this. So once I started talking to other kids that had the same problems that I did, and it made me feel a lot better and it was a lot easier to express my feelings. So.
And as soon as he went, well, first off, he didn't want to go at all. And I had to drag him there. And then when he came out, he said, it was all right, it was cool. And then the next week, he was looking forward to going. And then when he came out, he was excited. And we did this, and this was really cool, and it made me feel this way. And then he was talking about, we weren't allowed to say any stories that the other children told you, but he was telling me how other kids felt and how he thought that what might help them. He was giving them recommendations. And then he looked at it a different way, and he opened up more. And I think what happened was that what he was feeling, they were addressing. And he couldn't put a name on it, but they were addressing it, the anger, the loss. And it was very helpful.
I think it's very important for children to go through some kind of grieving program because most adults will kind of just push them aside and they don't feel that the children need to talk about it. They don't have any feelings of their own. They don't know how to express themselves. And mainly they think they're just going to get over it, and that's not the case. So rather than them rebelling and acting out and going into a deep depression, which is a very serious thing, they have to learn how to move through the grief. They can't go around it or under it. They have to go through it. And art therapy is probably one of the best ways for a child, especially children like under 12, because they don't know how to talk about their feelings. They have to put everything through their drawings. They describe how they feel. And from beginning to end, you see how they progress in their grief.
Parents are often very unwittingly unaware that their children are hurting when someone has died or when there's an illness in the family. It's not something that you want to look at as a grown-up, that your child is hurting, and it's often easier to think that they're doing okay. But the reality is children are very, very bright. They're very aware of the surroundings and what's going on around them. They may not always understand everything. So it's important for grown-ups to be honest, and that's one of the things that we talk about most in our program, is please be honest with children. Tell them the events. Explain to them in terms they can understand of what's happening. Warning signs for children when we see them are often behavioral. Children will act out more. They may become aggressive. They may cry more. You may see signs of depression. These are warning signs that they're hurting, they're troubled. They don't always have the language to tell what's bothering them the way an adult does, which again is where the art comes in. It's such a beautiful form for them.
Do you have a nice picture of you and Daddy? You were probably very little, huh?
I was, when my dad died, I wasn't even one.
You were very
What
little.
does this spell?
Oh, you wrote Dad on the cover. How nice. Great job. You have a big smile. She looks happy.
She is the #1 superhero!
Because, oh, look what she put inside. What does that say?
Mom.
It says the world's best mom.
Since the program has begun in 1980, we have reached out and helped hundreds of families in our community. In order to continue the services that have been offered free to the public for our program, we are able to keep going by the generous donations that we often receive from different corporations as well as private donors in the community.
Everyone was great. I really liked the young girl that was there. Jane was wonderful. She was very comforting. You know, you felt her security. She understood, and you know, she was just very helpful. You know, you'll get through this.
She's very nurturing.
Yeah, absolutely. You felt that it was so warm, and you know, it's very tough, and feel what you feel, but you'll get through this.
I feel a lot better. Like, I mean, I still think about my dad a lot, and like when I try to talk to people about it, it's a lot easier for me to talk to people about it because I've done it before, and like I've talked to people about it who are complete strangers. So now when I talk to people about it that I know, it feels like it's just a lot easier for me to talk to, and it's easier for me to reach out to people.
Well, I got into it because my mom interested me in doing it because 3 people died in my family. I want to come here almost every day of the week when that happens. Well, I would say, like, if someone died in your family, you should come to this art therapy group that I go to because it's a lot of fun.
Is there one word that I think would wrap it up? And there is one word: compelling. How it formed was compelling. This young woman anticipating problems for her children. The children themselves make a very compelling argument to deal with this reality. And I think when you see it in operation, it can't help but grab you. So I would say compelling is the best word, the single word that would define it.
All grief must not be thought of as being awful or destructive. The world would be worse without it. If no person's life were significant enough to cause weeping, and if the measure of our years on earth were nothing, then we would not be real human beings. Profound grief is often preceded by deep love, which gives life meaning. At the end of mourning, there is still sadness, but it is a wistful sadness that is tempered by the happy memories that we still possess. Grief is neither a problem to be solved nor a difficulty to overcome. It is a sacred expression of love, a sacred sorrow. Gerald May, MD. For more information on our art therapy and bereavement classes, please call Riverview Medical Center at 732-530-2382 or visit meridianhealth.com.
Beautiful beaches, quiet neighborhoods, and being near major cities are just a few reasons why Monmouth County is a wonderful place to live. But for so many families, living in Monmouth County is a struggle. Many of our neighbors are threatened by homelessness and hunger every day. However, there is one organization making a difference: Interfaith Neighbors.
I am Joe Mamora, the Executive Director of Interfaith Neighbors. Interfaith Neighbors is celebrating its 15th anniversary, something that all of you are a part of. We came together as people of different faiths when we learned that far too many families who are living in Monmouth County were homeless or threatened with homelessness. We shared a common belief that we are all mandated by God to help people in need. So we came together to provide rent subsidies to keep families in their homes. We assist over 200 families each year. We feed 4,000 seniors annually, and we make home ownership a dream come true by building new homes.
The rent subsidy program is set up to assist families maintain housing in Monmouth County. Rentals in Monmouth County are terribly expensive, and what we can assist is that we pay a small portion of the rent directly to the landlord. It's for families that head of household must be working full-time and there must be dependent children in the house, and this is for all of Monmouth County.
I found out about Interfaith Neighbors through Freehold. The homeless shelter, they had a homeless shelter program there. At that time, I was homeless, staying in a hotel. Interfaith helped me because I didn't have to quit my job to get on welfare, because they was like a subsidy part for me. They helped me, and I didn't need to do that.
I heard about Interfaith Neighbors doing my own social work. I have a 4.5-year-old who suffers from asthma. She was 2.5 months premature, so it's hard being a single mother and doing all the things that I have to do and not have any assistance. And Interfaith Neighbors really gave me the assistance I needed to get back on my feet and where I am now. When I was in a tough spot, my daughter was very ill. I was out of work. Interfaith Neighbors assisted me in paying a portion of my rent.
In 1996, Interfaith Neighbors, along with the help of New Jersey Natural Gas, went a step further to bring home ownership to low-income residents. Together, they started an innovative home ownership program that builds and renovates houses for qualified first-time home buyers.
Interfaith Neighbors was handing out booklets and brochures around the neighborhood, and my mother actually lives a house over, and they gave her one. And she called me and she said, call this number. And I called them the very next day, and they told me what to do, come down there and fill out an application, which I did. And I actually watched the house be built from just a board to what you see now. I always wanted a white picket fence, and they gave me a fence. I didn't want to paint it white, but I got my white picket fence now, so I'm happy. I never knew I would have a deck, but as they were building it, Paul, who works at Interfaith, said, do you want a deck? I said, can I do that? He was like, whatever you want. I said, I want a deck.
What's really special is how Interfaith Neighbors has brought together communities and local companies to allow hard-working families to achieve the dream of home ownership. We're proud to have been involved over the last 8 years. Actually, the program started when New Jersey Natural Gas Company contributed $25,000 to refurbish a home on Monroe Avenue in Asbury Park. As the years have gone by, we've been able to attract different corporations, which has helped us to expand the program even further. But I think what's most important is the people who are involved. The young women and the young men of the Youth Corps and AmeriCorps and all the work that they put in. the support that we've had from local communities, as well as the support of the financial institutions, and also Bevan Irvin, the contractor who is responsible for building the house. But the role that Bevan plays goes well beyond just building. He also serves as a mentor to the young women and the young men who are involved in the project.
I got involved with Interfaith Neighbors approximately 3 to 4 years ago when they were looking to start their first new home on a lot that was donated by the Township of Neptune. It's been very rewarding because take like the Jenkins family, which just moved into the last house. A young couple lived in a one-bedroom apartment in their parents' house with a couple of children. Both had full-time jobs, and it was kind of tough for them. So this program fell right in within their guidelines, or what they had better than what they had over Opal.
It was incredible because we was counting on something else to happen, and it seemed like this was like what heaven sent, because the way they act on what we told them and the situation we was in a one-bedroom, leaky roof, small, everybody was sleeping in tight quarters, and then all of a sudden, this year we're in a house for Christmas, you know. I actually could say that. I could never say that before, but it's mine. This house is mine.
I'm from Asbury Park, New Jersey, and I'm Youth Corps Crew Supervisor. And I've been working with Interfaith for a couple years now, off and on, and Bevan, you know, doing a couple houses off and on. And what this means to me is, you know, it's a good opportunity to give back to the community by putting a family into a house like this.
I worked with Youth Corps before. We worked on another house on Asbury Avenue. Now there's a family in there, and I'm happy to see that. And right now we work on a house now, and hopefully when we get done with it, it's going to be like 3 families in here having a nice warm home. And that makes me feel good to see that we're working together and help the community.
We're in front of the home of 2 individuals who are seniors. They're getting their meals delivered by Interfaith Neighbors, and this means so much to them and to all of us here in Monmouth County. By the services that are being provided by Interfaith Neighbors, and particularly in this instance, the Meals on Wheels program and the delivery to their home, this wonderful family get to remain a part of the fabric of our community and get the privilege of staying in their home as opposed to having to go to an alternate facility. This is just one example of the many services that Interfaith Neighbors provides to the Red Bank community, but also all of Monmouth County.
In addition, the organization runs a summer food program in Asbury Park for the New Jersey Department of Education that annually provides more than 20,000 meals for children. The organization also collects and provides donations of food, toys, and gifts during the holiday season. Interfaith Neighbors benefits from the support of more than 700 dedicated volunteers.
I believe that Interfaith Neighbors represents a tiny slice of America in its finest hour, for we are neighbors helping neighbors. We are most proud that 96 cents of every donated dollar stays in our programs. I want to thank you for your generous support over these past 15 years. We ask that you continue this support as it is vital for us to continue in our mission.
It's a fine organization because most of the money or anything that's donated to Interfaith goes right to the bottom line.
I'm very grateful for their generosity.
Thank you for my home. It's beautiful. And I never thought I could afford a house like this if it wasn't for you guys. Thank you.
If I ever became a millionaire, I would give half of what I own to Interfaith so they can help people that's trying to make it, because sometimes people don't want to help people that's trying to make it. And through Interfaith, it has really helped me, and they have really blessed me and my family.